Okay, good morning, class. So let us start with the today's class. Today we are having theory class. Yesterday we studied about some practicals. That is starting with the creating tables and inserting values. So now we are moving towards the next part. Am I audible now? So here, let us go for the first menu. That is, let us revise what we studied into the last previous lectures of ER diagram. So I hope to expect it means complete today this chapter. So first we seen the design process overview, where we have seen if consider we wanted to perform design a database for some system, then how we can design. So here gathering the requirements of prospective data users, then selecting the domains, and then it means continuously updates we need to perform. So here, whatever the satisfying the requirement, that is the main purpose of a designing database system. Then that is a physical requirements, computer science, logical design or conceptual design. Here we go through the number of processes and then design our database. Next, we have seen regarding entity relationship model. This is the database model, that is data model, which is used for the graphical representation of users' requirement. So entity stands for a thing, a real life thing, which can be differentiated from one among another. So, and if all the things, it means having the same set of the properties, then we can say that this is an entity set. For example, a person. So here a group of person, this can form a entity set of person where each person will have a same set of properties so that these can be differentiated. The next, a relationship. Relationship, it means that here the association between the entities, that is called as a relationship. So here two entities will be of different types. For example, a person and a bank account. So here bank account or any customer from the bank, if opening account into a bank, then there will be association between the bank and the customer. So this association is shown by the relationship. So again, relationship can have its own attributes, which will represent the relationship when that relationship was established. Then whatever the entity and relationships are there, we apply some constraints. So constraint stands for the some rules or some restrictions on which we are deciding, that is, we are applying the real life constraints to the database. The next we have seen regarding removing redundant attributes in entity sets, where consider if any attribute is getting repeated into number of entities, then how we can remove. The next we started with the entity relationship diagrams, which is graphical representation. So here we have seen how we can represent, that is entity. Entity can be represented by using a rectangular, where a rectangle is divided into two parts, one covering the entity name and other covering the attributes of the entity. Relationship, here relationship we are representing by using a diamond. So the relationship between two entities is shown by a diamond. And then again, how to represent complex attributes, just like composite attributes or derived attributes and multi-valued attributes, how we are representing that also we have seen. Now we are moving towards the next point, that is reduction to relational schemas. Here the entity relationship model doesn't actually store the data. Okay, it doesn't actually store the data, but it gives only graphical representation. To actually store the data, we need to use some other data models. So for this purpose, we are using a relational model. So relational schemas, it means that whatever my graphical representation is there, that is an abstract reflection of my needs. So now I need to move to the actual design, that is where actually database can be stored. So now let us see how we can reduce our entity relationship model into the relational model. So, okay, in case of representation, that is ER diagrams, up to relationship, that is passing the constraints, that we have seen. Then also we have seen how we can represent a participation, that is total and partial. If you wanted to show the partial, then we can use a single line for connection between relationship and entity. But when it comes to the total participation, we always use a double line connecting the relationship and the entity. The next, cardinality limits also we can apply onto the relationship, just like here, one to many or one to one or one to many, whatever our relationships are there. If consider student can have at most one instructor, then here one, that is it can have a maximum one and minimum one instructor, that is it is a limit. But instructor can have 0 or more student. That's why here 0 stands for the minimum limit and star stands for the maximum limit. The next, here we can have a ternary relationship. Ternary relationship, it means that participating entities are three. Three entities participate into a relationship. That's why this relationship is also called as a ternary relationship. Then this relationship exists between instructor and project, project and student and instructor. So this relationship is shown by this ER diagram. Next, cardinality considered on the ternary relationship. So here this point says that, okay, before coming to the previous problem, so now this is our right now requirement. So here, as per this requirement, so here I can say that there is no any limit provided here. So here I know that an instructor can guide to the many students. Okay, it means that the relationship between instructor and student is one to many. Okay, student can have association with only one project. That is, student right now cannot work on the multiple projects. Student can work on a single project simultaneously. But instructor can have many projects under him, just like I'm having 2 projects group or 3 projects group. Okay, this can be a thing. So in this case, how we can represent the relationship, that how to represent the relationship between instructor and project, project and student and instructor. So it means here, if student and instructor, if I'm showing one to many, so by the project can belong to multiple students. Instructor can have many projects under him. So if I'm showing the relationship between instructor and project as one to many, then this many get also applied to the student also. Okay, it means that here I cannot limit that this relationship is only many with respect to the instructor. Okay, so in this case, so here whatever the relationship between instructor and project is there, if I'm going to show this as one to many, then this many get applied to the student also. But in case of student, I know that student can work with only single project. Okay, here whatever this cardinality mapping is there, that we cannot show by using our normal forms. That is a normal representation. That is how we are representing one to many or many to many relationship. So my question is whether are you clear with the problem of this ternary relationship? As I can see, few of the students are there. It's still not crossed 100. So I'll simply put one more link. So my question is whether problem is clear to you, why we are discussing about the ternary relationship. In case of ternary relationship, here whenever we are representing the relationship between instructor and project, this many constraint is get applied to the student also. But in real life, I cannot assign multiple projects to a single student. Okay, multiple students can work on a single project, but a student can work on a single project only. Okay, it means a group of students can apply for a single project, so that project belongs to multiple students, but student can belong to a single project only. Okay, and that's why we are it means how to show the cardinality constraint on the ternary relationship. Right now we are discussing about this. So here, whenever we allow, that is at most one arrow out of the ternary relationship or greater degree, the relationship to indicate cardinality constraint. So here arrow, it means that I am having one to many, that is one relationship. So an arrow from the project guide to the instructor indicate that each student has at most one guide for a project. Okay, if there is more than one arrow, then there are two ways of the defining the meaning, that is a ternary relationship R between ABC with arrows to B or C could mean that each A entity is associated with unique entity from B or C. Okay, so here let us take this as A, this as B, and this as a C. Okay, if I'm having arrow to the instructor, okay, if I'm having arrow here, then it means that multiple students belong to a single instructor, that is it is having a one as a cardinality mapping. So whether the same get applied for the student project, this is my B and this is my C. If I'm showing arrow at this point, so this it means that the relationship between student and instructor is one to many. But when it comes to the project, so are we applying the same relationship? So this cannot be true always. So here the problem is that each A entity is associated with unique entity from B and C. Okay, it means if I'm showing the one relationship of instructor, so this gets applied as one to many relationship between project and one to many relationship with the student. Whether problem is clear? Okay, and then each pair of the entities A comma B is associated with unique C entity, and each pair A and C so here each alternative has been used with the different formalism. It means here we cannot show the relationship between project and student here by simply implying one here. Okay, and that's why whenever we are using a ternary relationship, here the limits are not given intentionally, showing that this relationship can be many to many always. Okay, so here we can put our constraints in terms of some other terms, not by using a cardinality. So here showing one, it means that multiple projects belongs to a single, that is project belong to at least single instructor, and student to instructor. This is one to many, that's okay. But when it comes to the project and student, if we show the relationship by using the arrow, then it means that here showing the arrow here, it means that one instructor can apply for only one project. So that restriction we cannot apply on this ternary relationship. Okay, and that's why the arrows are not used in the ternary relationship. So here, in order to avoid this, we always use a that is non-arrow multiple many relationship in case of ternary relationship. Clear with this? You got started? Okay, I will repeat the contents. So, okay, this is a one-to-many relationship. One-to-many relationship, that is multiple students belong to a single instructor for advisor. Okay, so arrow here, it means that this is one and this is many. Okay, so now here this one-to-many relationship is done. That is a single instructor can advise to the multiple students. So now when it comes to the ternary relationship, okay, so here for example, ternary relationship, if consider I'm showing arrow here, okay, so for the instructor, if I'm showing the arrow here, it means that multiple students can act as a, it means under the guidance of single instructor, and multiple projects can also under the guidance of a single instructor. Okay, so but that is not always true. Okay, instructor can have one project or multiple projects, or may not have project. So here whenever we are showing here one to many relationship with respect to the instructor, we are implying our normal rule. But when it comes to the relationship between project and student, okay, if I'm showing the relationship between project and student, student can have only one project. If I'm showing the arrow here, then a student can belong to a single instructor. But if I'm showing arrow here, that is students can work on a single project. So then here relationship between instructor and project, that is also becomes 1-to-1. Okay, which is not correct. Instructor can guide to the multiple projects. Okay, and that's why here in order to show this relationship between instructor and project, if I'm adding the arrow here, sorry, in order to show the relationship between student and project, if I'm adding the arrow here, so this will also implies that an instructor can work on a single project only. So that avoids, it means violates our rule that instructor can guide to a multiple projects. And that's why here, whenever we are using a ternary relationship where more than two entities are participating, we always avoid the arrow from the relationship. So that's why here, whatever our general rules are there, that is student can be guided by a single instructor or multiple projects can be guided by the instructor. These are only represented by using a ternary relationship without any arrow originating from the relationship. Okay. So now let us see the next concept, that is a weak entity set. So weak entity set, it means that here whenever we are talking about some entities which doesn't have its own existence. For example, if I'm teaching the subject, within the subject I can have multiple sections. If I'm talking about the section, it means that that section completely depends on the subject. So then the existence of the section is dependent on the subject. So then it means subject is not there, section will not be there. So then here the section becomes my weak entity, whereas the subject or course becomes my strong entity. Okay, so when we talk about the weak entity sets, weak entity set, an entity set that does not have a primary key is referred to as a weak entity set. So here, whenever I'm talking about the section, so a single subject can have two sections. Similarly, other subjects can also have multiple sections. If I'm storing the information about the sections, for example, if I'm considering a database engineering. Okay, so database engineering. So this is having section 1 and this is having section 2. Next, I'm considering a subject DA. Within that, this subject also I'm having one section and I'm having two sections. So if I'm along with this also storing this information that this is stored in the ty same1, okay, this information also I'm storing, then whatever this information is there, this will be getting repeated, okay. So it means that even though I'm storing the section information for all the subjects, I'm unable to identify whether this information belong to a DA or whether this information belong to which subject. Clear with the problem? So here, if I'm storing only this much information, then here a primary key constraint says that key is able to give me a unique result. Okay, माझ्या कीचा आउटपुट नेहमी युनिक असायला पाहिजे. That is, by giving the key elements, I should be able to identify a record uniquely. म्हणजे एकमेव मला फक्त रेकॉर्ड आज आउटपुट म्हणून मिळाला पाहिजे. But when I collectively take all the attributes, section number, in which same this is stored, in which year this is stored, in which same this is stored, all the attributes, even though I am considering, still this will repeat the information. म्हणजे एवढी इन्फॉर्मेशन मला प्रायमरी की साठी इनसफिशियंट आहे. So along with this, I will add my subject code. Okay. So if I'm adding the subject code, then I will get a unique combination. Okay. मग मला प्रत्येक सब्जेक्टचा सेपरेट कोड आहे. So I will get a unique combination. Okay. So this combination is unique. This combination is unique. So this combination is unique. I'm having section here 1 and 2. Remaining information is same, but I'm having section 1 and 2. It means collectively this can act as a primary key now. So it means that here whatever my section entity is there, this is insufficient to form a primary key. Okay, that is, it doesn't have sufficient attributes. And for this purpose, this section entity is dependent on the course entity. Okay, course in terms of university, etc. Course is taken as a name. It means alternative for the subject name. Okay, so I'm taking the help of course ID in order to differentiate between the multiple subjects. Then this course ID, whatever the primary key of my course is there, so I will use in order to differentiate between the multiple sections. It means a section's primary key can be formed by taking the attributes of the course. So then this becomes, a section becomes my weak entity, and this becomes my strong entity. Okay, the strong entity which is having its own attributes for forming a primary key. Okay, or simply you can say a key. So key, if I'm using only key, this always refers to a candidate key. Okay, candidate key which is minimal and gives me a unique record. So if course is able, course is having sufficient attributes to form a primary key, then this will be called as a strong entity. So every entity which is having sufficient set of the attributes to form a key, then that entity will be called as a strong entity. And the entity which doesn't have its own attributes sufficient to form a key, then that entity will be called as a weak entity. So here I can say that section is completely dependent on the course entity for its existence. म्हणजे याचा एक्झिस्टन्स, सेक्शनचा कम्प्लीट एक्झिस्टन्स माझा कोर्सवर डिपेंडेंट आहे. जर माझा कोर्स नसेल तर माझ्या सेक्शनचा काही फायदा नाही. Okay, so this doesn't have any meaning. Even though if there is no course, there will not be any meaning to the existence of the section. That's why here weak entities are always existent dependent on some strong entities. Okay, so let us move to our previous discussion. So here, an entity, let us revise the definition. An entity set that doesn't have a primary key is referred to as a weak entity set. Okay, that doesn't have a primary key. Primary key, it means that if I'm unable to identify a entity by its own attributes uniquely, then I doesn't have a key. The existence of a weak entity set depends on the existence of identifying entity set. So whatever the strong entity is there, this is also called as a identifying entity. Okay, identifying म्हणजे याच्या आयडेंटिटी मुळे I can have a section entity. Identifying entity set. It must relate to the identifying set via total one-to-many relationship set. So here one-to-many, that is, sorry, total. Every section is related to a course. It might happen that there is a course and doesn't have a section. Yes, it can have. But whatever the sections I'm talking, all these must be participate into a relationship. That is, whatever the relationship I'm having between the course and section, this is always total from the section. Okay, sectionचं participation complete असतं आणि courseचं participation may be partial, may be total, but partial can be there. But in case of section completely or totally participate into a relationship, because this is what you can say, existence dependent on the course. म्हणजे sectionचा existence completely course वर dependent आहे. कोर्स जर नसेल तर माझा सेक्शन नसणार. म्हणजे सेक्शन हा कम्प्लिटली कोर्सवर डिपेंडेंट आहे. बट I can have a courses where there cannot be any sections. Just like consider your self-learning subjects. In the self-learning, even though I'm having the sections, as this is self-learning subject, I can ignore the section. Then, identifying relationship depicted using a double diamond. So whenever we are representing a weak entity or a weak relationship, then that is shown by a double rectangle. Sorry, here double relationship, that is by double border, a double diamond. This relationship is shown, and here always whatever the relationship participation is there, that is given by double line. It means participation is total. And in case of primary key, we are simply underlying the primary key attributes. But when it comes to the weak entity set, as these are not sufficient to give me the primary key, these are given by using underline, that is a dash, that is dotted or dashed underline. Okay, so whatever this remaining attributes are there of this weak entity, these are called as a discriminator attributes. Okay, discriminator attributes, it means the attributes which are from the weak entity set, which are used as a part of primary key. For example, here, if I'm using section number, semester, year and semester, then it means that these three attributes also forms a primary key along with the course ID. Okay, this is my complete primary key. In that case, whatever these remaining attributes are there, which belong to a weak entity, these will be called as a discriminator attributes, or this is also called as a partial key. Partial key of the weak entity is set of attributes that distinguishes among all the entities of a weak entity set. Okay, the primary key of the weak entity set is formed by a primary key of strong entity set on which the weak entity set is dependent, that is existence dependent. Okay, plus whatever the attributes of weak entity set. So by this combinedly forms our primary key. So we use a dashed underline in order to represent the attributes of the weak entity set. Yes, then primary key, the primary key of my strong entity plus the discriminator attributes of the section. So this will form a primary key of a section. Okay, so take a minute for reading this and then we'll resume. if you are having any doubt, you can ask by using unmuting yourself or in the chat window. So here, when we talk about the storing the primary key, okay, so it means right now right now course ID is part of my course, and then here in the entity section ID semester and year is there. So now whenever we are storing values for this, do we need to store the course ID also? Okay, so for moving to the next point, let us go for the next. It means whatever our reduction to relational schema is there, during that point we will see it means how to store the weak entities and how to differentiate between the primary key. So let us focus on this example. So I will skip this slide and directly move to the next slide, so that during the conversion from ER diagram to the relational model, we will see this point. So now let us take, so this is an example for the weak entity set. If I'm having the loan account, then only we can go for the payment. So within that payment, this entity is completely dependent on the loan. Okay, so existent dependency is there. So these are some differences between the weak entity and strong entity. So usually the question is asked regarding 5 marks. So whenever theory papers are there, so out of this 16 marks questions will be there onto the 82 marks, and 4 to 5 questions will be there for the 4 to 5 marks. Okay, so within that always a difference is asked between a strong entity and weak entity. Okay, so let us see this difference. So strong entity set, it has its own primary key, whereas weak entity set doesn't have sufficient attributes to form its own primary key. In case of representation in the ER diagram, this is also represented by using a rectangle strong entity, whereas when it comes to the weak entity set, this is represented by a double rectangle. Okay, so here payment it is shown as a double rectangle, showing that this is a weak entity set. Okay, so whenever we are representing the primary key into the strong entity, this is represented by using underline, whereas we use dashed underline for the partial or discriminator. So again, identifying entity set, dominant entity set, these are the different names of the strong entity, whereas this is called as a subordinate entity set. Okay, a relationship between strong entities is shown by a single am I audible? So relationship between two strong entities is shown by single border diamond, whereas in case of weak entity set, so weak entity set cannot have a relationship with the weak entity set. This is always connected with the strong entity set, and for this purpose relationship is always shown by using a double diamond. Okay, then here I can have partial or total participation, whereas weak entity set participation is always total. So this is a university enterprise ER diagram. So it means throughout our syllabus, it means our database syllabus, we are using this structure in order to, it means this schema we are using in order to explain the things, mostly the instructor relation, Instructor relation is in relationship with the student, with the advisor, one to many. Then every instructor is associated with at most one department. So association between instructor and student is always many to one. Okay, and instructor participation is always total. Total, it means that instructor belongs to at most, it means at that is one department only, but there can be a department where there are no instructor. Wherever consider right now you wanted to establish new department, then officially I have got that is institute has got the permission for opening the new department, but it might happen that there is no faculty assigned. So such information also we can represent here. Then student also associated with different that is at most one department, and participation is total. Then course, that is subjects. So subjects belong to a department. Then these are taught by the instructor. Then wherever these are taught, so this is a section and covering the time slot, timetable, etc. So this is a minimum level of a university enterprise. You can have a look. So then next, the main important point, that is whatever our design is there, so there is a question, how we can define the relationship between both entity without primary key. It means, is this question related to weak entity set?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when there is a relationship between weak entity set and strong entity, okay? So here, right now, the payment, okay? Let us consider this example. So payment number, payment date, payment amount, okay? So here loan number, loan entity, loan number and amount, okay? So now whenever we are storing information about this, okay? So whatever this relationship is there, whenever we are storing the information, this relationship is completely resolved. Okay, म्हणजे ही completely dissolve केली जाते. We are having existence for the loan, and we will have existence for the weak entity into actual storage. But when it comes to the relationship, okay, in case of relationship, this information is not stored. Okay, for example, if I'm having the course here, and here if I'm having the section, then the relationship, whenever we are storing the value, ज्यावेळेस आपण ह्या व्हॅल्यू स्टोर करतो त्यावेळेस लोन नंबर माझ्या पेमेंट सोबत मॅच केला जातो. So only that information is storing. It means by default we are storing the relationship between loan number and the payment. Okay, so whatever this relationship is there, this doesn't have any physical existence. This will have only graphical existence when it comes to the actually storing the values. So primary key of the payment, payment number, and these three attributes. Okay, and when it comes to the loan payment, so loan number, and along with these three attributes, loan number. It means repetition of that attribute will be there, and that's why this relationship doesn't have any physical existence. म्हणजे याचा ज्यावेळेस स्टोर करतो त्यावेळेस फिजिकल एक्झिस्टन्स नसतो, फक्त पेमेंटचा फिजिकल एक्झिस्टन्स असतो. म्हणजे पेमेंट, this entity will have its own existence, but loan number, this loan payment, this relationship will not be found anywhere within my relational model. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so is there anybody still having doubt? Okay, let us move to the next point. Okay, reduction to the relational schemas. So wherever we are giving the abstract representation or graphical representation, these representations doesn't store any values. But when it comes to the relational schemas, so here this is the point where we actually start storing the values. So here we are building a structure which will be able to receive those data. Okay, म्हणजे जे काय माझे कन्स्ट्रेंट माझ्या ER डायग्राम मध्ये आहेत ते सगळे कन्स्ट्रेंट मला रिलेशनल मॉडेल मध्ये अप्लाय करावे लागतात. फॉर एक्झाम्पल कीज, एक्झिस्टंट डिपेंडन्सी, रिलेशनशिप, हाऊ. सो व्हॉट एव्हर दिस आवर कम्प्लीट ग्राफिकल रिप्रेझेंटेशन इज देअर, ते मला रिलेशनल मॉडेल म्हणजे ज्यावेळेस मी कम्प्युटर मध्ये माझा डेटा स्टोअर करते त्यावेळेस मी या ग्राफिकल फॉर्म मध्ये नाही सेव्ह करू शकत. सो आय नीड अ सॉफ्टवेअर which will be able to convert this given graphical representation into some structure where I can store my data. Okay, so here conversion, for this purpose we are converting this entity, we are converting this relationship, we are converting the keys. म्हणजे या प्रत्येकाचं रिप्रेझेंटेशन माझ्याकडे रिलेशनल डेटाबेस मध्ये आहे, रिलेशनल मॉडेल, and then I'm able to actually store the data. Okay, so let us see how we are representing a strong entity into a relationship model. Relational schema. So representation of a strong entity sets with simple attributes. Simple attributes just like I'm having department name, building and budget. Okay, so these are having a single valued and simple, that is atomic in nature. So whenever we are having a strong entity, for the strong entity, we create a separate relation, just like a separate table which will have columns, department name, building and budget. Okay, if I'm having the entity as department, so I will create a separate table with name department, which will have columns, department name, building and budget. Okay, so right now these are the simple attributes. That's why I directly can form a column for this. And then department name is my primary key. So obviously whenever I'm creating a relation for department, I will make this as a primary key. Okay, let E be a strong entity set with only simple descriptive attributes. So A1, A2 up to AN, these are the attributes of my entity. Then we represent this entity by schema called E with n distinct attributes. म्हणजे माझ्याकडे जर n attributes असतील तर ते सगळेच्या सगळे माझ्या रिलेशन मध्ये. So okay, tuple, it means that this is a row, म्हणजे ROW. In a table, okay, I'm having columns and rows. Okay, कॉलम्स म्हणजे काय, दीज आर नॉट स्टोरिंग द डेटा. कॉलम म्हणजे माझा डेटा स्टोर नाहीये, ते फक्त स्ट्रक्चर साठी युज केलं जातं, की म्हणजे माझ्याकडे डिपार्टमेंट नेम आहे, बिल्डिंग आहे, बजेट आहे, हे 3 माझे कॉलम झाले. त्याच्यामध्ये मी कुठलाही डेटा कॉलम यामध्ये स्टोर करत नाही. पण ज्यावेळेस मी रोज मध्ये जाते, रोज मध्ये मी ऍक्च्युअली माझा डेटा स्टोर करते. सो दीज रोज म्हणजे एक रो म्हणजे माझा एक रेकॉर्ड. सो रो, this is also called as a record and this is also called as a tuple. Okay, in terms of a database, this the widely used name is there. म्हणजे रो म्हणून सांगितलं जात नाही की म्हणजे माझे इन्फॉर्मेशन म्हणजे माझा रो आहे, नाही. In terms of a database, every record is called as a tuple. Each tuple in a relation on this schema corresponds to one entity of the entity set. Okay, for example, right now I'm having a department entity. Okay, in the department entity I'm having department name, I'm having building and budget. Okay, सो रो म्हणजे काय की माझ्याकडे CSE डिपार्टमेंट, बिल्डिंग, फर्स्ट फ्लोर. ओके, आय विल स्किप डबल इनवर्टेड कॉमर्स. ओके, फक्त रेकॉर्ड्स मी ऍड करते. अँड बजेट कन्सिडर 20 लाख. Okay, so this is my one tuple. ही department माझी entity आहे. Department is my entity set. Within that, CSE is one entity. If I'm considering the another department, ENTC, first floor, and consider 21 lakh. So this is my another tuple. This is my another entity. This is my another record. Similarly, if I'm going to store information for another department, okay, this will always store a separate entity. Each department can be differentiated from one another. Civil, this is having different name, and electrical, different name. So here, department name is my primary key. It means I cannot have a record with the CSE, second floor, and consider with another budget. Okay, this record is not valid. So this doesn't allow me to store this value because this is my primary key. If department name is my primary key, I cannot go for storing two values for the, it means same value for the two departments. I should have each different and unique. Okay. And also this is compulsory. It means a mandatory. A department cannot exist without its name. So here, this restriction, whatever I'm having on to the entity, these all restrictions will be applied into my relation. Okay. So let me read the same. Let E be a strong entity set. That is, let us E consider as a department with only simple descriptive attributes. Simple म्हणजे मल्टी व्हॅल्यूड किंवा कंपोजिट नाहीत, फक्त सिंपल म्हणजे atomic in nature. Attributes A1 to AN. Right now department is having 3 attributes. We represent this entity by schema called E. म्हणजे डिपार्टमेंट म्हणजे जे काय माझं एंटिटीचं नाव आहे सेम नेम आपण आपल्या रिलेशनला देऊ. Attributes, each tuple in a relation. Okay, each tuple, each record, each row. Table मध्ये मला हे माझे columns आहेत. This is only representing my structure. That is department name, unique must be there. Building, a varchar, budget, a numeric or long or float, anything. Then this is my one tuple. This is one entity. This is another entity. So relation on the schema corresponds to one entity of entity set E. Okay, clear with this? How we are representing this? Clear? Clear? Okay. For the schemas derived from the strong entity sets, the primary key of entity set serves as a primary key of the resulting schema. म्हणजे जो काही माझा schema here. So this is my schema of the department relation, a department entity. Okay, हा माझा departmentचा schema आहे. Department is in my entity set. So whatever the schema is there, within that schema, whatever in the entity डायग्राम म्हणजे एंटिटी डायग्राम मध्ये डिपार्टमेंट नेम माझे प्रायमरी की होते तर माझ्या रिलेशन मॉडेल मध्ये पण तीच ॲज अ प्रायमरी की म्हणून इट शुड वर्क. Then this follows directly from the fact that each tuple corresponds to a corresponds to a specific entity set in entity set. For example, student entity set. This entity set has 3 attributes. ID, name, and total credit. Okay, student entity is having 3 attributes: ID, name, and total credit. Okay, then we represent this entity by schema called student with 3 attributes, that is student, ID, name, and total credit. Okay, entity name student is there, so relation name will be also student. There are 3 attributes: ID, name, and total credit. Right now in this example I am considering the name as a simple attributes. Okay, we are not considering this as a composite attribute for the time being. Okay, name, this represents a simple attribute. So if the primary key of this entity is ID, then in the relational model or in the database ज्यावेळेस मी या एंटिटीचं टेबल मध्ये कन्वर्जन करते त्यावेळेस आयडी इज माझा प्रायमरी की, इट शुड बी देअर. Since the student ID is a primary key of entity set, it is also a primary key of my relational schema. हा माझा relational schema, हा माझा entity schema. So similarly, we can derive here the relationship just like so. Just like here for the department, if I'm giving this attributes, so you can help me to go for another attributes like another entities. So I'm having an instructor relation, okay, instructor entity. Within the instructor, I'm having ID as a one attribute. Then next, name as another attribute and salary as another attribute. Then this will form my relational schema of my instructor. Then I'm having an entity called course. In the course, I'm having course ID. Course ID, then I'm having a title, and then I'm having a credits. Okay, so then this forms my relational schema of the course. So this is also a strong entity here. Instructor is also my strong entity. Then next, time slot. This is also my strong entity, but this doesn't have a simple attributes. This is having multi-valued attribute like day, start time, end time. That's why we will not consider this. So done with this. Any doubt how to represent a strong entity? Yet we had not touched our relationship. Okay, so if you're having doubt regarding the strong entity, you can ask. Okay, no response. I consider this as no doubt. So these are the schemas which derived from the current state. Classroom, this is got hidden into the representation. So classroom, you can see. So in the classroom, I'm having attributes as a building, room number, and capacity. So this schema is remaining. So I will cover this. Classroom. In the classroom, I'm having building, room number, and capacity. Okay, as this is a notepad, I cannot go for underlining and showing the primary key. So these are the schema derived. So already we studied about the department, student, and remaining course and classroom. Okay, now let us see how we can represent a strong entity set with complex attributes. Okay, so when we are talking about the complex attributes, we consider the types of the attributes like composite attribute. Okay, composite attributes, it means that the attribute can be divided into subparts. For example, name. If I wanted to name, divide into first name, middle name, and consider last name. So these are the three components of my name. Then whenever we are representing this into a relational schema, and in the ER diagram, these are represented by using a composite representation. म्हणजे ER diagram मध्ये सुद्धा हे composite attribute आहेत म्हणून represent केलेला आहे. Then in that case, whenever we are converting this relation, for example, for the instructor, instead of name, म्हणजे माझ्या फिगर मध्ये तर असं नाहीये की हे composite attribute आहे. This is simply shown as a simple attribute. म्हणजे फक्त एक simple attribute म्हणून show केलेला आहे. Consider that name here is shown as a composite attribute. म्हणजे काय की नेमच्या खाली माझ्या फर्स्ट नेम, मिडल नेम आणि लास्ट नेम असं रिप्रेझेंटेशन केलेलं आहे. Then in that case, whenever we are converting this name into relational schema, then I will need to consider a separate column for each of the component. Okay, it means if I'm having name as a composite attribute in the instructor, then I will have columns into my relational schema as ID of the instructor, then first name as a separate column, last name, I will take middle name, separate column, and last name as a separate column, and then remaining attribute as a salary. Okay, so each component of my composite attribute will have a separate existence into my relational schema. Okay, so it means that here whatever the name म्हणजे हे तिन्ही मिळून माझं नाव बनतं. It means these three are the components of name. That relationship is not shown here. It means first name, middle name, and last name. This combinedly forms my name. That will not have any existence into my relational schema. Composite attributes are handled by creating a separate attribute for each of the component attributes. Okay, जेवढे जेवढे component attributes आहेत त्याला प्रत्येकाला separate attribute म्हणून relational model मध्ये treat केलं जातं. We do not create a separate attribute for composite attribute itself. म्हणजे जे काय माझं composite attribute आहे name त्याच्यासाठी कुठलंही separate attribute create केलं जात नाही. Okay, the schema generated for the instructor contains attributes first name, middle name, and last name. There is no separate attribute or schema for name. Okay, name ला काहीही existence नसतो, फक्त जे माझे components आहेत first name, middle name, and last name, these will have existence into my relational schema. But when it comes to the name, this will not have its own existence. Clear with this? So now let us go for the next type of the component, next type of the attribute, that is multi-valued attribute. Okay, when we are talking about the multi-valued attribute, phone number, okay, consider or mobile number. Mobile number. So this is a multi-valued attribute. Okay, so if consider for the instructor, I'm having a mobile number as a separate attribute, or consider email ID. Okay, this is available into my ER diagram. Okay, but our instructor can have multiple email IDs, and that information I wanted to store. When in case of ER diagram, this attribute is represented by using a curly bracket, it means that this is a multi-valued attribute. Multi-valued attribute. So here it might happen that one instructor is having single email ID, one instructor is having 2 email IDs, and another instructor might have 4 email IDs. Okay, so it means that here whatever the value of this email ID is there, I cannot count on fingers. It means I cannot apply to the every instructor that you should fill 4 email IDs or you should fill 5 email IDs. No, here in order to represent a multi-valued attribute, we need to create a separate relation. Okay, separate relation, it means that here inst, that is instructor mail ID or email ID. Okay, this separate relation we need to store an ID and email ID. Okay, this information we will preserve. If consider instructor ID with 1 is having email ID as abc@gmail.com. So this will be my first record. If instructor 1 is having email ID on the Yahoo also, then I may have abc@yahoo.com. Okay, so in this way, this information is stored. Here you might be thinking why we are not storing this information in the instructor only. Here we know that ID is our primary key. Okay, इथं मला primary key हा constraint इथं apply करायचा आहे. So if consider I am storing here email ID, it allows me to store only single email ID. But you might be thinking email ID 1, then I can have a separate, that is email ID 2, then another email ID, that is email ID 3. So you might be thinking that why don't we create a different columns here? Yes, we can create such columns, but consider there are 10 instructors are there. Okay, 10 instructors are there. So out of 10, 5 are having only single email ID. Then remaining 5 are there. Out of that, 3 are having 4 email IDs and 2 are having only consider 2 email IDs. Okay, it means that here if I'm adding this restriction to 10 instructors, मग 10 जणांपैकी फक्त ही फॅसिलिटी कसं की तिघांनाच यूज होती completely. Okay, and for the remaining this will be a wastage of my column will be there and wastage of space will be there. Whenever I am creating a column, this will allocate some space. म्हणजे null तरी तिथं मला म्हणजे null that value will be get stored. मग unnecessarily मी हे burden माझ्या टेबलवर increase करत आहे and that's why here and I do not want to miss the information also. म्हणजे मला इथे information miss पण करायची नाहीये आणि space पण वाया नाही घालवायचे. And for this purpose, wherever there are multi-valued attributes are there, for this purpose we create a separate table which will store the primary key of the main entity, that is instructor's primary key and the multi-valued attribute. Okay, फक्त हे दोनच attribute या table मध्ये असतील आणि त्याच्यामध्ये जेवढे जेवढे तुमचे email, consider for the one I'm having 10 email IDs, then I can make a 10 records here. If I'm having, that is 2 is having only single email ID, so here this will add only single email ID, mentioning that I need not to waste the remaining space. Okay, and that's why here whatever multi-valued attributes are there, these are always represented by using a separate relation. So this will be also repeated for every multi-valued attribute. Okay, consider phone number. Okay, if an instructor is having more than phone number, then here contact number I will use. So if there are multiple contact numbers are there, consider for the one I'm having 1, 2, 3, this has a one contact number. For the one I'm having 2, 3, 4 separate contact number. If consider 2 is having single contact number, then I can have, and this combinedly form, it is not always necessary, but this is always a primary key within this, or this combinedly can form a primary key. Okay, so clear with this? How to store a multi-valued attribute or convert the multi-valued attribute into ER diagram to the relational schema. So let us move to the slides to read the explanation. Multi-valued attributes. So what your composite are there? So separate existence for the every component will be given into relational schema. And when it comes to the multi-valued attribute, so here we are going for the new relational schema for that separate attribute, including the primary key of my entity. Just like for the instructor, if you wanted to have email ID, then primary key of the instructor plus the multi-valued attribute. Now the next type of attribute is derived attribute. So derived attribute, it means that we are getting some form of the input value, and from that we can calculate the another value. For example, if I'm getting the date of birth of a person, then by getting today's date, I can calculate the age. Then age becomes my derived attribute. So in case of this, derived attributes are not stored into a relational schema. There will not be have any existence for this, but we can go for some methods. Okay, methods म्हणजे माझे functions which will calculate this value. Okay, म्हणजे relational schema मध्ये जो काही derived attributes आहेत ते कुठेही store केले जात नाहीत, because that value keeps on changing. For example, age. Today I calculated, it means some difference between, it means how many days are over to a specific event. So consider that event takes place on November 19. Then today I might be having different dates. So it means how many days I wanted to calculate. Then this becomes a derived value. Then this value may keeps on changing. and that's why we are not storing these values into a database. For this purpose, we define some methods, just like some functions into our programming languages. For example, if I'm having B and C, consider I'm having formula called B equal to A minus C. Okay, this is my input. Okay, for this purpose, A is my some fixed value and C might be changing, or C is my fixed value and A might be changing with respect to a time. Then, how to perform this calculation? That is shown by some methods in terms of a database. And this will not have any storage. म्हणजे जसं की आपण here I have stored email ID and ID. फोन नंबर अँड आयडी हे जसं फिजिकल म्हणजे कुठल्या तरी मेमरीच्या पार्ट मध्ये हे सेव्ह होतं, तसं माझी ही व्हॅल्यू बी ची व्हॅल्यू कुठेही स्टोर राहत नाही. ती प्रत्येक वेळेस मला मेथड थ्रू कॅल्क्युलेटर्स करावी लागते. ओके, सो दॅट इज अ डिराइव्ड ॲट्रिब्यूट्स. Derived attributes are not explicitly represented in a relational data model. However, they are represented as methods in other data models such as object relational data models. So in terms of MySQL also, we can go for calculating the age, etc. It means some basic functions are already defined, but complex methods are not there. However, what are PostgreSQL are there we can go for defining some complex functions, etc. In case of MySQL, we can perform operations on some dates, some primary calculations like addition, subtraction, etc., and can define some procedures also. But many more operations are not allowed in case of MySQL. So any doubt in this? How to represent composite attribute, how to represent multi-valued and derived attributes? No? Yes, any doubt? So for a multi-valued attribute M, we create a relational schema R with an attribute A that corresponds to M, okay, and attributes corresponding to the primary key of the entity set, okay, or relationship set of which M is an attribute. म्हणजे मल्टीव्हॅल्यूड ऍट्रिब्यूट फक्त एंटिटीलाच असतील असं नाही, रिलेशनशिप मध्ये सुद्धा असू शकतं. सो इन दॅट केस फॉर द रिलेशनशिप ऑल्सो वी यूज द सेम स्ट्रॅटेजी. Primary key of a relation, that is primary key of the entity or relationship, plus the multi-valued attribute. Then this will form a separate schema. Then how we can represent a relationship sets into relational schemas. Okay, so here whatever relation R is there, okay, for example this one, let us consider the advisor. Okay, whenever we wanted to represent this advisor into the relational schema, then for this relationship we create a separate table. Okay, for example, if I'm having the advisor here, for the advisor I will create a separate relation, that is advisor. In the advisor, I will take a primary key of the instructor, that is ID, and then primary key of another entity, that is student ID. Okay, here I will take this as a inst ID, indicating this is an instructor ID and student ID. So this is how a relationship is represented. For example, this is regarding the advisor. Now let us consider for the instructor and department. So then inst department. So this is my relationship between instructor and instructor and department. Then in the ins department, department name, primary key, that is primary key of the department, and then primary key of the instructor. So ID. So in this way, I will store this relationship. Now, for example, here in this relationship, I don't have any attributes of the relationship. म्हणजे relationship चे माझे कुठलेही attributes नाही आहेत. जर attribute असतील, then these can be added to here. Okay. So here we also studied about how to give primary key to the relationship. Okay, म्हणजे relationship ला primary key कुठली द्यायची. So here many students are guided by a single instructor. Consider that instructor 1 is guiding to student 1, instructor 1 is guiding to student 2, instructor 1 is also guiding to student 3. Okay, it means that here I'm having the relationship between these two as 1 to many. Many students belong to a single instructor. Instructor ची value repeat होतीये, student ची value repeat होत नाही. Then in that case, this value is non-repetitive. It means that this is a unique value. Unique value, it means that जे काय many participation आहे, that can act as a primary key here. Okay, so this student ID can act as a primary key. म्हणजे relationship. In that case, a primary key can be a primary key which is participating as a many. Wherever there is 1 to 1 is there. Okay, this is regarding 1 to many. म्हणजे जिथं many participation आहे, that can act as a primary key. When it comes to 1 to 1, okay, 1 to 1 म्हणजे काय की consider that a student belong to a single project. No, we cannot take 1 to 1 कन्सिडर करा की म्हणजे एका इन्स्ट्रक्टरला एकच सब्जेक्ट टीचिंगला दिला जातो आणि एक जो सब्जेक्ट आहे तो एकच फॅकल्टी टीच करू शकतो. इट मीन्स आय एम टीचिंग डेटाबेस, अदर दॅन डेटाबेस आय कॅनॉट टीच एनी अदर सब्जेक्ट. आणि डेटाबेस दोन्हीच्या दोन्ही डिव्हिजनला मी टीच करते, माझ्याशिवाय दुसरं कोणीही टीच करू शकत नाही. देन आय विल हॅव अ कॉम्बिनेशन. इन्स्ट्रक्टर 1 is teaching a database engineering, instructor 2 is teaching OSC, instructor 3 is teaching JP. Okay, here neither this value is getting repeated, neither this value is getting repeated. In that case we can have primary key either this or either this. म्हणजे कुठलंही जिथं माझं 1 to 1 रिलेशनशिप येतं त्या केस मध्ये कुठलीही प्रायमरी की म्हणजे दोन्हींपैकी कुठलीही प्रायमरी की कॅन ऍक्ट ऍज अ प्रायमरी की. Either instructor ID or course ID or course number, any of this can be a primary key. But when it comes to the 1 to many or many to 1, in that case the entity म्हणजे जी entity many relationship मध्ये participate करते that can act as a primary key. So here student ID will be a primary key. And then if I'm giving the restriction that many instructor can teach a single subject or same subject can be taught by a multiple instructor. म्हणजे एका फॅकल्टीला 2 सब्जेक्ट दिलेले आहेत आणि एक सब्जेक्ट 2 फॅकल्टी सुद्धा टीच करू शकतात. In that case, I may have a repetition of this value. I may have a repetition of this value. Okay, in that case this combinedly forms my primary key. म्हणजे हे दोन्ही attribute मिळून माझी primary key बनते. DB getting repeated, 1 getting repeated. म्हणजे neither this attribute is sufficient to form a primary key, neither this attribute is sufficient to form a primary key, but combinedly can form a primary key. Primary key म्हणजे काय की मला युनिक कॉम्बिनेशन मिळायला पाहिजे. So unique combination, this individually cannot give me a unique combination. हे सुद्धा individually मला unique combination देऊ शकत नाही. So both combinedly can give me the unique combination. 1 dB, no, there is no any value 1 dB. It means this combinedly forms a primary key. This strategy we have applied whenever we are designing the relationship, and the same strategy we are applying to the relationship. म्हणजे relationship converting to the relational schema. In that case also we can apply the same strategy. That in case of many to many, both attributes or both primary keys combinedly forms a primary key. In case of 1 to 1, either of one can have a primary key, And in case of one to many, whatever the entity participating as a many constraint, that can form a primary key. Okay. So now here consider a takes relation. Okay, in case of takes, I'm having its descriptive attributes as a grade. Okay, takes ला स्वतःचा attribute आहे grade. Then in that case, whenever we are converting takes relationship into a relational schema, so takes, this is the name of my relationship, primary key of the student ID. Then here I'm having section entity. So section is having primary key. This is my weak entity. Okay, so weak entity is having a primary key as a course. Sorry, a primary key of the course, that is course ID, section ID, semester, year. So these are the attributes of a primary key of the section. And takes, this is a relationship with this is having its own attribute as a grade. So grade will be also added into a relation model, relation of a takes. So ID, student's ID, course ID, and section ID. Section ID, semester and year. So these are the attributes of a section entity, primary key of the section, and grade, its own attribute for the takes. So this combinedly forms the relational schema of the takes. So let us move to the explanation. So conversion, that is representation of relationship sets into a relational schema. Let R be a relationship set. Let A1, A2, AM be the set of attributes formed by the union of primary keys of each of the entity sets participating into R. R मध्ये जेवढे एंटिटीज पार्टिसिपेट होतात त्या सगळ्यांच्या प्रायमरी कीचे युनियन म्हणजे माझे हे अट्रिब्यूट सेट आहे. लेट डिस्क्रिप्टिव्ह अट्रिब्यूट्स इफ एनी, म्हणजे त्या रिलेशनशिपला स्वतःचे जर अट्रिब्यूट्स असतील तर समजा की ते B1, B2, Bn आहे. So in this case, whatever our grade is there, that is a descriptive attributes. Attributes of the relationship set are called as a descriptive attributes. मग हे B1 झालं माझं. ID name, ID is a primary key of my student and primary keys of the section. So this will form A1 to AM. So we represent this relationship set by a relation schema called R with one attribute for each member of the set. Okay, म्हणजे प्रत्येक attribute जे आहे ते प्रत्येक ऍज अ सेपरेट कॉलम म्हणून माझ्या रिलेशनशिप मध्ये रिप्रेझेंट केलं जातं. Union with the descriptive attributes. And this is the explanation regarding the primary key chosen. You can take a minute for reading this. Okay, so let us resume our lecture. So clear with this? How to choose a primary key in case of relationship when it one-to-one, either of the primary keys we can choose as a primary key. When there is many-to-many relationship, combinedly forms, that is whatever participating entities are there, combinedly forms a primary key. And when there is a binary relationship, many to one or one to many, so whatever the many participation of the entity is there, many sides entity, that can be chosen as a primary key. Choosing a primary key. So n- ary relationship just like ternary, quaternary, or more than 4 entities are participating. That is any relationship where more than 2 entities are participating. At this point, we are not using any arrows on the edges. Just like example we have seen for the project. Okay, so here we are not using any of the arrows to represent a relationship. It means here always the relationship is considered as many to many from every entity participating to other entity. And that's why here in case of project guide, the primary key of all the entities participating is chosen as a primary key. Primary key of the instructor, project, and primary key of the student. This combinedly forms a primary key for the project guide. Okay, so here in case of n- ary, this decision is taken. So here, whenever there is an arrow, it means that there is only one participation. So in that case, we can choose a primary, it means when there will be an arrow, in case of for n- ary relationship set with an arrow of on one of its edges, the primary keys of entity set not on the arrow side of the relationship set serve as a primary key for the schema. So okay, so now here next point, that is entity relationship design issues. Okay, so here design issue, it means that here this completely depends on the perspective. For example, I'm having an instructor relation. Within the instructor, I'm having a phone number. Okay, so whether phone number you wanted to store it as a separate attributes, or whether you wanted to store phone number as a separate entity. Okay, that is the question. For example, regarding the phone number, if I wanted to store that for any consider, I'm having a friend XYZ with me, and that XYZ phone number, personal phone number, work phone number, or some home phone number, it means 3 to 4 numbers I can have. And along with the phone number, if I wanted to store some extra information, okay, so usually phone number is my multi-valued attribute. For the multi-valued attribute, we are creating a separate separate table for storing this. But when I wanted to store information about the phone number also, okay, so here the design issue, it means that here the importance, म्हणजे त्यावेळेला काय चूज करायचं, that depends upon the completely a designer. म्हणजे डिझायनर ठरवू शकतो की मला फोन नंबर ऍज अ फक्त एक अट्रिब्यूट घ्यायचंय का फोन नंबर मला ऍज अ सेपरेट एंटिटी घ्यायचंय, म्हणजे मला बाकीची पण इन्फॉर्मेशन सेव्ह करता येईल. पण ही डिझाईन इश्यू म्हणजे काय की एक तर हा ऑप्शन आहे किंवा हा ऑप्शन आहे. म्हणजे या केसमध्ये पर्स्पेक्टिव्ह मॅटर करतो. पर्स्पेक्टिव्ह, मला फोन नंबर बद्दल एक्स्ट्रा इन्फॉर्मेशन सेव्ह करायची, मला अट्रिब्यूट म्हणून नाही सेव्ह करायचं. त्या केसमध्ये मला लोकेशन वगैरे जास्त इम्पॉर्टंट वाटतं. मग त्या केसमध्ये मी लोकेशन म्हणून लोकेशन किंवा कधी घेतला XYZ इन्फॉर्मेशन, म्हणजे नॉट नेसेसरी, पण समजा की मला ही एक्स्ट्रा इन्फॉर्मेशन पण मला सेव्ह करायची. इन दॅट केस आय कॅन डिसाइड. समजा की मला मी फक्त दुसरी म्हणजे फक्त फोन नंबर एक व्हॅल्यू म्हणून पाहिजे, फक्त कॉन्टॅक्ट साठी पाहिजे, मला एक्स्ट्रा इन्फॉर्मेशन नाही सेव्ह करायची. इन दॅट केस फोन नंबर आय कॅन टेक एज अ सेपरेट अट्रिब्यूट ऑल्सो. सो हिअर दिस कॅन बी टेकन ॲज अ एंटिटी, म्हणजे डिझाईन इश्यू, म्हणजे की कसं तुम्ही हा इश्यू डील करू शकता, की बाबा फोन नंबर जर रिक्वायरमेंट मला जास्त नाहीये, फक्त तुम्ही फोन नंबर सेव्ह करा, मला बाकीचं काही नको, लोकेशन वगैरे नको. म्हणजे लोकेशन किंवा एक्स्ट्रा इन्फॉर्मेशन नाही सेव्ह करायची मला, किंवा फोन नंबर ऍज मला फक्त एकच अट्रिब्यूट किंवा एकच व्हॅल्यू स्टोअर करायची. मग त्या केसमध्ये तुम्ही हे मल्टी व्हॅल्यूड करा किंवा सिंगल व्हॅल्यूड करा, काही घेण्यात नाही. मला फक्त एक व्हॅल्यू स्टोअर करायचे, डिटेल्स मला 4-5 नंबर फोन नंबर सेव्ह नाहीत करायचे. मग त्या केसमध्ये मी फक्त एक सिंपल अट्रिब्यूट म्हणून स्टोअर करू शकते, आणि त्या केसमध्ये मी इथं एखादं सेपरेट एंटिटी म्हणून सुद्धा सेव्ह करू शकते. इन दॅट केस आय नीड एक्स्ट्रा इन्फॉर्मेशन अबाउट दिस. द नोशन ऑफ एन एंटिटी सेट अँड अ रिलेशनशिप सेट आर नॉट प्रिसाइज. म्हणजे हे आपण ठरवू शकत नाही की फोन नंबर तुम्ही फक्त अट्रिब्यूटच सेव्ह केलं पाहिजे, तुम्ही एंटिटी म्हणून नाही सेव्ह करू शकत, असं आपण फिक्स रूल नाही बनवू शकत. It is possible to define a set of entities and the relationships among them in the different ways. म्हणजे या केसमध्ये माझा पर्स्पेक्टिव्ह कसा आहे, एकतर असा असू शकतो किंवा असा असू शकतो. सो म्हणजे हे बरोबर आहे हे चुकीचं आहे, किंवा हे चुकीचं आहे हे बरोबर आहे. नो, दिस इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट, दिस इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट. दॅट इज अ कॉल्ड एज अ डिझाईन इश्यू. म्हणजे एक इश्यू आपण कुठल्या वेने हँडल करू, दॅट कॅन बी टेकन. क्लिअर विथ दिस? So then next की म्हणजे आपण here either we can take anything as a entity, or here we are talking about the attribute and an entity. म्हणजे कुठले म्हणजे एखादं इलेमेंट मी ऍज अ एंटिटी म्हणून स्टोअर करू शकते किंवा ऍज अन अट्रिब्यूट म्हणून सेव्ह करू शकते. Then again we can talk about the whether anything should be considered as an entity or whether it should be considered as a relationship. For example, a student registers for the course. Okay, मग मी ते डायरेक्टली रजिस्ट्रेशन म्हणून एक सेपरेट रिलेशनशिप शो करू शकते. But along with the registration, I wanted to check on which date student has registered number. It means that here registration एका सब्जेक्टचं मी 4-5दा सुद्धा करू शकते, की म्हणजे या सेम मध्ये मी अप्लाय केलं पण मी एक्झाम नाही दिली, पुढच्या सेम मध्ये मी परत अप्लाय केलं. इट मीन्स दॅट हिअर registration, this is having its own existence. Then here in my design perspective, I can take registration as an entity, or I can take this as a relationship between student and a section also. So it means I cannot say that you should consider only registration as an entity only. म्हणजे मी असं restriction देऊ शकत नाही की बाबा registration म्हणजे तुम्ही entities consider करायचे. You can consider this as an entity, or whether you can consider this as a relationship. So it depends completely on the designer. Then whether we should consider for binary or n-ary relationships, म्हणजे बायनरीज रिलेशनशिप घ्यायचं का मल्टिपल एंटिटीज सुद्धा पार्टिसिपेट करायचं, दॅट अगेन डिपेंड्स ऑन द complete designer. Okay, for example, in case of this project, yes, a project, consider that on a होऊ शकतं की एक माझा प्रोजेक्ट खूप वर्ष माझ्या कॉलेजमध्ये चालू आहे, त्याच्यावर कंटिन्युअसली काम चालू आहे. आय वॉन्टेड टू गिव्ह अ सेपरेट एक्झिस्टन्स फॉर द प्रोजेक्ट. सो देन on that project multiple instructors are simultaneously working. So here project, this is related to instructor, this is related to student, so this is continuously changing, and for this purpose I may not be willing to connect these three along with the single entity. म्हणजे एकाच रिलेशनशिप मध्ये मला तिघांना कनेक्ट करायचं नाही. I will consider a separate relationship between project and instructor. I will store this as a separate relationship. I will store this as a separate relationship, and I will establish a separate relationship between student and instructor. Okay, so here it is not always great choice to use this as a ternary or n-ary relationship. We can convert this ternary relationship into multiple binary relationships. Again, this is a design perspective. Depends how the designer is going to choose the option. For example, right now, the previous structure, that is A stands for the project, B stands for the instructor, and C stands for the student. Then instead of this, I can go for a separate relationship between these three, and I can have this as a representation. Okay. So anyway, we can go for designing our ER diagram. Then next, the last point from our chapter, that is extended ER features. Okay, so extended ER features, it means that we are having, it means up to now, whatever these are there, so these are the basic features, entity, relationship, etc. So here we can go for connecting different entities by using a specialization and generalization. Specialization, consider that I'm having an engineering course. Within the engineering course, I'm having computer science. At the UG level, I'm having only computer science, but at the PG level, I can have software testing, I can have machine learning, I can have AI. It means a separate subject within my computer science can act as a separate domain. So specialization, it means that here we are going for the differentiation between the common groups. म्हणजे माझे जे कम्प्लीट कोर्सेस जे आहेत त्यांच्यामध्ये मी डिफरन्शिएशन शोधते की बाबा हा कसा डिफरन्शिएट होऊ शकतो. स्पेशलायझेशन, इट रेफर्स टू अ प्रोसेस ऑफ सब ग्रुपिंग, म्हणजे आहे तो ग्रुप कुठल्या तरी क्रायटेरियावरून आपण सब ग्रुप करतो. So the process of designating the subgrouping within an entity set is called as a specialization. For example, I'm having a class of 50 students. Okay, within the 50 students, if I have decided that first I will decide based on the grade, or otherwise I will decide differentiation between the students based on the location, or based on whether student has applied for some certification, म्हणजे कुठला तरी सर्टिफिकेशन झालंय त्याच्या बेसिसवर मी त्या सगळ्यांमध्ये स्पेशलायझेशन करते. म्हणजे सब ग्रुपिंग, त्यांच्यामध्ये कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक सगळ्यांच्या सेमच आहेत, अट्रिब्यूट्स इनिशियली सगळ्यांचे सेमच आहेत, but specialization, whenever we are talking, it means that we are going to differentiate the existing group based on some another criteria. म्हणजे कुठला तरी दुसरा क्रायटेरिया घेऊन मी त्या सगळ्यांमध्ये डिफरन्शिएशन करते. So that is called as a specialization. So an entity set may include subgroupings of entities that are distinct in some way from other entities within a set. म्हणजे आहे त्या एंटिटी सेट मध्ये कुठला तरी क्रायटेरिया घेऊन मी सब ग्रुपिंग करू शकते. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, इफ आय एम हॅव्हिंग अ पर्सन मे बी एम्प्लॉई, अ पर्सन मे बी स्टुडंट, देन पर्सन from this main entity I got two subgroups, that is employee and student. Okay, then here a person is a employee, person is a student. So this relationship we are showing between the two entities, that is person and employee, person and student. So each relationship is connected via a specialization. So we can have overlapping specialization. For example, a student may be employee, that is student, any person can be employee as well as student. म्हणजे जे काय आपण डिफरन्शिएशन करतो त्या केसेस मध्ये असं होऊ शकते की ज्या काही एंटिटीज मी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते त्यांमध्ये ओव्हरलॅपिंग येऊ शकतं. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, if right now I'm teaching a database subject, that is employee of this institute, and also I'm pursuing my PhD, then I become as a student also, and I can work as an employee also. So this set, whenever we are going for the specialization, need not to be disjoint. म्हणजे हे कंपल्सरी नाही की डिसजॉइंटच असायला हवा. This can be also overlapping. Okay, and if consider आपण डिफरन्शिएशन केलं की ग्रेडच्या बेसिसवर डिफरन्शिएशन केलं की बाबा 70 वाले ए ग्रुप मध्ये, अबो 70 बी ग्रुप मध्ये, 70 to 80 बी ग्रुप मध्ये, आणि सी ग्रुप मध्ये 80 to 90. देन या केसेस मध्ये ज्यावेळेस मी एखाद्या रेंजवर यांचं डिफरन्शिएशन करते त्यावेळेस प्रत्येक स्टुडंट कुठल्या ना कुठल्या एकाच ग्रुपमध्ये जातो, म्हणजे त्याला मार्कांची एकच व्हॅल्यू आहे. इन दॅट केस आय कॅनॉट गो फॉर एक स्टुडंट ए ग्रुप मध्ये पण आहे, बी ग्रुप मध्ये पण आहे. नो, हिअर ऑलवेज आय विल गो फॉर अ डिसजॉइंट स्पेशलायझेशन. So this might be a case. It depends on the which criteria I'm applying for the subgrouping. Okay, so in that case, whatever my person is there, this will be called as a superclass, and this will be called as a subclass categories of my relationship. So here, this is a sample example of a relationship, that is person is a employee, person is a student, employee can be an instructor, or employee can be a secretary. Okay, so these are the attributes. So here, whatever is a relationship is there, this is shown by a filled arrow. Okay, असा जो arrow आहे, by using this sign, the relationship is shown. So specialization within the person, I'm having specialization for the employee and student, and within the employee, I'm having specialization for the instructor and secretary. And the reverse, generalization. So this is my top-down approach, that is from the top, I'm going for the specialization to the bottom. But in case of generalization, exactly reverse is there. I will get a instructor and secretary as an input, and from that I will go for joining these into, that is forming a general sub, combining these two into a single group. म्हणजे आपण सब ग्रुपिंग स्पेशलायझेशन मध्ये केलं होतं, याच्यामध्ये सब ग्रुपिंग नाही तर हे युनियन करतो आपण. So the refinement from initial entity set into successive levels of entity subgroupings represents a top-down design process in which distinctions are made explicit. And ज्यावेळेस आपण design process bottom up करतो, design process may also proceed in the bottom up manner, in which multiple entity sets are synthesized into higher level entity sets. So with common features. So here, whatever our entities are there, we will be finding the common features within this, and then we will be combining this into a general structure or general entity. So the commonality between different entity sets in terms of attributes can be expressed by generalization. So, which is a containment relationship that exists between a higher level entity set and one or more lower level entity sets. Okay, so here, whatever our generalization is there, that is expressed in terms of, it means from lower level, we are going to the higher level by combining the or finding the common features. Specialization originates from a single entity, and within this single entity set, we are going for the differentiation. But when it comes to the generalization, we take multiple entities, and from multiple entities, we form a single common entity. The next, attribute inheritance. So this is a extra feature. For example, here in case of generalization and specialization, okay, attribute inheritance, it means that a person is having ID, name and address, okay, and employee is having a salary. But it means that ID, name and address, these attributes are also belonging to a employee. म्हणजे employee is a special category of the person who is having its own attribute as a salary. Then whatever the attributes of a higher level entity are there, these are also inherited by employee, and these are also inherited by student. Okay, so whatever these attributes are there, these will be inherited by student. Whatever the attributes of employee are there, so ID, name, address and salary, these attributes also will be inherited by instructor, and these attributes will be also inherited by secretary, along with its own attribute as a rank and its own attribute as hours per week. So property of higher and lower level entities created by specialization and generalization is attribute inheritance. So the attributes of higher level entities are said to be inherited by lower level entity sets. Okay, that's it. Constraints on generalization. So condition defined, for example, generalization, that is how to combine the lower level entities. So that can be taken by using some criteria, just like here, which employees to be categorized into an instructor and which employees to be categorized into secretary. So that conditions we can pass, or that differentiation we can take in order to make differentiation between employees. And user defined, it means that here condition defined, it means that some conditions are getting applied. For example, for to be secretary, I should have a experience of consider 16 years. Okay, this is my requirement. Then every employee which is having more than 16-year experience can come under this category. So this is a condition defined. User defined, it means that I will decide whom to make an instructor and whom to make a secretary. It means there is no any condition which will form my clear basic understanding. For example, within a person or within the student, if I decided to categorize students into A, B, C category, so marks, this will I will take as a categorization below 70, 70 to 80 and 80 to 90, or 80 are notes. Then this becomes a user defined constraint. Disjoint and overlapping, total and partial. So total and partial, it means that every person is employee and student. If consider there is a person who performs any entrepreneur, that is does neither studying, neither working anywhere. Okay, then those person can be remain into this state only. Neither these can be categorized into employee, neither these can be categorized into student. Then here this person set becomes a partial participation into this relationship. Whereas if I'm taking every employee is either an instructor or either a secretary, then in that case I can say that employees participation into this relationship or this specialization is a complete or total. So okay, regarding reduction to relational schema, so this was actually point from the last syllabus, that's why I will not cover this. So here we will stop right now. So at this point, almost every point from our syllabus we have covered. So officially I will declare that here our second chapter is over. So if you are having a doubt, let me know in the next lecture. At this point I will stop. So please don't leave the meet. Let me take the attendance.